Love in the potato cellar. Most people remember when they got their first crush, that feeling that there was something special about the opposite of, for some people, same gender, and that this person embodied it. I talk to people who remember their first crush coming in all sorts of ways. It doesn't always have to be on someone who is flesh and blood. Sometimes it is, of course. I think the best literary description of this is Tom Sawyer seeing Becky Thatcher. It's about the right tone and the right reaction. I have friends who fell in love with someone on the screen. The other day, apropos nothing, I remember the girl in my notoriously difficult 8th grade physics class who went up to get a test she was afraid of seeing, clutching a collector's card of a character of Space 1999, Alan Wass name. Her name has long since disappeared in the mists of my memory, as has her face. But I remember her hand clutching the card behind her back as a talisman, because he had protective powers. And I remember we all tease her about her crush. It is perhaps fitting that I would take this one step further. I first fell in love with a person composed entirely of words, a creature who had no form or shape, except what the author could evoke in the reader's imagination. Yes, it was Athos, from the Three Musketeers. For years I've assumed I was 11, perhaps because it's the ideal age for this. Looking back, though, I don't think so. I was somewhere between 8 and 10. We played at the Three Musketeers in elementary school. By 11 I was at the 2-year preparatory school where I never got anyone to play my games, and instead used to walk around the playground daydreaming. I remember hiding in Grandma's potato storage area. Her house was up the road, so I spent my afternoons there. I don't know why, but I suspect I was hiding from my long division homework. If I'd been found out, I'd have been made to do it, as opposed to inventing a very important reason it hadn't been done, which had served me fine so far, and was much more fun. I had the Three Musketeers with me. I started reading it not expecting much, because lately I'd been going through the real literature classics section of the family library, and had learned not to expect much. Still, it was printed, and it presumably was a story. I got past the whole thing with the horrible-looking horse fairly unmoved, but of course, I wanted to see if D'Artagnan caught the man who stole his letter. And then the Musketeers come in, and are being chewed out, and Athos appears. Wounded, in pain, but coming here to save his friends from disgrace. I think I read that passage 5 times in a row. I might have worn the ink off the page. The next few weeks were devoted to fervid daydreams where Athos got catapulted into my immediate vicinity through some sort of space-time reality disturbance, thereby probably making me fit only for science fiction. The dreams never got very far, since my knowledge of love was reduced to what I could see of the people who courted my cousin Natalia, i.e. when you were in love, you got to sit on the uncomfortable front room sofas, under the eagle eye of a chaperone, and make stilted small talk. But I knew I liked men, not boys. Note. Most boys my age annoyed me, and I knew what did it for me was nobility and intelligence. And perhaps a tinge of sadness, though I eventually grew out of that. Still, a tragic past is so romantic, provided you don't have to live with the guy. Most first crushes fade, I guess, but this one remained. At first I reread the book obsessively, eventually adding 20 years after, and later the wretched Viscount de Bragelonne. I still think Dumas Jr. wrote it. Either that, or his father had gone soppy in his old age. I finally weaned myself to one reread a year. But Athos remained my fictional crush. Finally, in my 30s, I realized I was now a writer, and I had the power to invoke him at will, and spend however much time I wanted with him. About that time, my editor at Prime Crime asked if I wanted to do an historical mystery. The result was The Musketeers Mysteries, written as Sarah d'Almeida. The first one, Death of a Musketeer, has now reverted to me. I've made a deal for its publication with Naked Reader Press. I'm not sure of the exact publication date yet, but I think it's February. Give it a try, if you haven't yet, or even if you have but would like an e-copy. It's non-vermed, so it will last you through changes of devices. And if this sells well enough for me to think it's worth my trouble, I'll be happy to write book 6 and 7, and you may cease with the demanding emails. Not that the ego boost isn't appreciated. The continuation of the series is in your hands. Not to mention the enabling of my crush. Cross-posted at Naked Reader Press blog. If you like this content and want to support this channel, the blog, and Sarah's continued writing, please like and subscribe. If you really enjoy the content, please come and join the fun at accordingtohit.com.